What's the best response to a Christian saying you're going to hell? See you later. A skater boy dropped this one on holy rollers in college. The rest of us thought it was absolutely brilliant. Now he's a superstar, slamming on his guitar. Some version of this reply is the true answer. These holier-than-thou Christians are always the worst sinners of the bunch. If hell actually exists, they pretty much have a one-way ticket to it. They absolutely are, and my youngest sister was one. She cheated on her first husband every chance she got, then cheated on her second and I guess current husband. She loved to shove religion down my throat while she was shoving dicks down hers. It makes Jesus sad when you say that. You seem to have a lot of hate in your heart. I'll pray for you. I'm sorry the devil has hardened your heart. I hope the Lord helps you overcome the hate. I told my mom this once and OMG, it was the wrong thing to say. She went nuclear and blocked every family member, even those not involved in the argument, and posted a rant about how she was a horrible mother. Yeah, a couple people saying this won't work, but it does. Might not work on everyone, but will on a pretty high percentage. LMAO. As someone with a fundamentalist Christian brother, I can confirm this is the way. They're taught to be zealous warriors for the faith, but also, critically, that they should be motivated by the infinite love of God and Jesus, and should always reflect that love to the world. So when you tell them that their hearts are actually filled with hate and anger, it implodes their worldview. Adopt an effect of gentle pity when you say this, refuse to get angry if and when they do, tell them you hope they somehow find a way back to a life of compassion and love, and disengage. Works like a charm. I don't know if I could keep a straight face saying all this, but God, I can see how devastating it would be. For sure, the irony can get so extreme it becomes farcical, but I assure you, if you can keep cool, remain serious, and maintain an attitude of vague concern and disappointment that they're projecting so much hate into the world, your position becomes so much stronger. Again, they're conditioned to believe that they are operating from a place of compassion and love, so when you can flip the script on them, all their arguments fall apart. Bro, Jesus really wrapped everything up nicely at the Sermon on the Mount. The disciples drilled him on the most important aspects of their faith, and he summarized basically: peace and happiness are earth's biggest blessings, anger is a dangerous road, turn the other cheek, love your enemies, do good works not for the clout but because you want to. And don't judge, because that's God's job and he does not like when you try and do his job for him. None of this mentions how to ostracize, criticize, question, torment, ridicule, or be anything other than kind to every single fellow man on earth. No mention of gays, no mention of monogamy. He even basically poo-poos the 10 commandments, and yet churches still tell you not to say oh my God. Not a Christian alive today has actually read that fucking book, I swear. Also, the hateful people like to pick and choose what parts to reference and how they interpret it while ignoring the rest of the words, context, and other interpretations. Where? Act like you've never heard of it, concede none of the authority or credibility they are used to having. What do you mean, after I die? How can I go somewhere after I die? I'll be dead. My what? Do you see these souls often, friend? Is one in the room right now? Love it. In college, there was this strip of bars where the Southern Baptists would often stand outside proselytizing to kids stumbling out at 1 a.m. We would take the occasion to have some fun, and one of the best I remember was a buddy saying, Jesus? Do you mean like Jesus? Is this some kind of weird Mexican cult? Never heard of him, but you shouldn't believe everything you people tell you. These people you're caught up with, they're probably gonna ask you to commit ritual sacrifice or something soon. I would get out while you can. It took everything I had not to double over in laughter. Sounds like a scam to me. Especially if they've asked you for money. Quickest way to get the churches to leave you alone is to tell them you have no money to give. See you there then. And I won't even say hi to you. They'd reply, because I'll be in heaven. Don't make it easy for morons to sound less dumb than they are. We can do better, be the change you want to see. I'll tell your mom you said hi. Shrug, say okay, and walk away. You not caring riles them up even more. So, I was raised in a Christian home, going to church 2 to 3 times a week, all that jazz. One tactic you learn for witnessing to unbelievers is called the diagnostic questions. Basically, you start with, if you were to die tonight, do you know for sure that you'd go to heaven? If the person says no, then you can tell them how to be saved. If they say yes, you explore their belief system and tell them what's wrong with it. Fast forward to me being in my early 20s. I'd almost entirely quit going to church and left those beliefs behind, but I worked at a restaurant with a few students from the local seminary. One day, one of these dudes comes up to me and starts with a familiar tactic. Hey you N546RV, let me ask you a question. If you died tonight, do you know for sure that you'd go to heaven? My response was simple and honest, I don't care. The look on the dude's face was hilarious. There was no branch on the flowchart for anything other than a yes-no response. At least it had the desired effect. which was to stop that line of conversation dead in its tracks. Same situation, grew up in Texas surrounded by evangelicals. This is exactly the response. Mockery, ridicule, yes, no, all those are an avenue of pursuit. Don't give an avenue of pursuit. Complete disinterest and disregard is the way to shut it down. They require engagement of some sort, be it positive or negative. If you have no engagement, there's no avenue to pursue. I'm 43 years old now, and this is a well-practiced way of interacting with my parents. They don't really bring it up anymore, and I don't give them any openings to bring it up. The insecure part of me thinks that this might be seen as a sign of weakness, that me not wanting to talk about it means that I'm not secure in my beliefs. The reality is that I'd be happy to talk to my parents about my religious beliefs, or lack thereof, if I thought it would be an open and honest conversation between adults. Thing is, I know better. Anything I said in such a conversation would get fed into a machine to try and refine a strategy for bringing me back into the fold. The problem is that I've already been inside. I know that no matter how much lip service is given to respecting other people, at the end of the day all those other belief systems are seen as foolish and worthy of mockery. Everyone else is wrong, the Christian is right, and the end goal is to propagate that as far as possible. Me, I'm not even interested in playing the game. I'm very lucky that my parents were open-minded despite our surroundings. I'm 35 now and living in the South have witnessed so much asinine behavior in the name of religion. Like you said, what bothers me is knowing that these individuals display none of the tolerance and brotherly love spoken of in the Bible. They're not interested in conversation, and their attempts to save people aren't motivated out of love or concern for others, but out of a cult obsession with recruiting more into the fold. It reminds me frequently of a quote I've most often seen attributed to Gandhi: "I am a fan of your Christ, I'm not such a fan of your Christians." Yeah, well, that's just like, your opinion man, calmer than you are. I'm staying. Judge not, that you be not judged. For with the judgment you pronounce you will be judged, and with the measure you use it will be measured to you. Why do you see the speck that is in your brother's eye, but do not notice the log that is in your own eye? Matthew 7, 1-3. Matthew is fantastic for religious clapbacks. Matthew 6 is a particular favorite. Be careful not to practice your righteousness in front of others to be seen by them. If you do, you will have no reward from your Father in heaven. AKA, the just shut up verse. Edit, Eugeniceros has the funniest observation about Catholics I have ever read. Matthew 6 verses 5-6. It is the heretic who goes to the church or street corner and prays loudly so all may hear him. When you pray, go to your closet and shut the doors so only my Father may hear you. I like to pull this one out whenever people push you to join in public prayer. I'm a recovering Catholic and it always struck me as hilarious that Jesus was like, hey, don't just repeat the same memorized prayers over and over, just say something from the heart, you know? Like, Father in heaven, your name is holy, let your will be done here on earth the same way it is in heaven, please keep the food coming. Forgive us when we mess up the same way we should forgive others when they mess up towards us, don't let us get tempted to do wrong, and keep us away from evil. So what did they do? Memorize it as it was written down and say that over and over again, often as a performance piece in a group setting. And occasionally along with the glory be in between 5 sets of 10 reps of Hail Mary when praying the rosary. Like church is a gym where you develop swoliness. Swoliness. That is beautiful, and I will remember that forever. Blessed be thy gains, skippeth thou not leg day. Aren't we all already here? This is the bad place. Jason figured it out? This is a real low point. This one hurts. Live a good life. If there are gods and they are just, then they will not care how devout you have been, but will welcome you based on the virtues you have lived by. If there are gods, but unjust, then you should not want to worship them. If there are no gods, then you will be gone, but will have lived a noble life that will live on in the memories of your loved ones. Marcus Aurelius. There is a line from the movie Kingdom of Heaven, great film. Watch the director's cut only, where Balian, the protagonist, is burning bodies during a siege. The Christian holy man is very angry at this improper burial, and Balian says this: God will understand. And if not, he is not God, and we need not fear his judgment. Priest, convert to Islam. Repent later. Balian, you've taught me a lot about religion. Such a great film. Balian, what is the Jerusalem worth? Saladin, nothing. Everything. The Australian thing to say is get fucked, cunt. Yes, but that's our answer to everything. We're a practical people, if nothing else. A good tool is one that has many uses and is always at hand. Cunt is that tool. It's the hammer that makes every other cunt look like a nail. I thought God is the only judge of our soul? Who are you to take his place? It's better to attack than using their own teachings and beliefs that contradict their statement. You're assuming these are people with education. That's very charitable of you, very Christian. But, like, isn't the God judges people thing very basic Christianity info that all Christians know about? According to your God, so are you for doing his job and judging? As a practicing Catholic, I approve of this reply. Stare at them blankly and don't hide your confusion. Don't say anything. Let them talk. They will keep talking, and the more they talk, the more uncomfortable they will make themselves. If they ask you any direct questions, don't answer them, just keep looking more and more puzzled. At the very most, shrug in total confusion. Do your best quizzical dog impression. They will give up and walk away, and regardless of how they try to seem outwardly, they will feel defeated, and question whether being an enormous asshole is worth it. It may not last once they get back into their bubble of people who think that's a great way to act, but realistically, it's the only way to fight back. The minute you engage with them at all, you lose. Any comeback feeds into the victim complex inherently baked into Christianity. The only winning move is not to play. Asking a question and/or making a curt statement and then going completely silent while making direct, unblinking eye contact has been proven to absolutely unnerve people. Sustained eye contact can be threatening. It fucks with the lizard brain. The silence is heavy. An awkward gap opens up, forcing the other person to fill that gap with whatever. Usually, it results in blithering idiocy and self-outing. People do not like to feel as though they are suddenly on the spot or under immense scrutiny. They absolutely crumple. It's worked on me. I've seen it work on others. I can tell you that for me, it was worse than being on fire. It's amazing what that will do to a person. And you think that's gonna be worse for me than standing here right now and talking to you how, exactly? Well, at least in hell, you won't have to talk to me anymore. Had an old man tell me I'm going to hell for my tattoos. I said, well, save me a seat for judging me. His wife was pissed at him, not me, lol. See you there, is my usual response. I'll save you a seat. If we don't sin, Jesus died for nothing. Thank you for watching. In the comments below the video you can write how you would respond in a similar situation.